Trump goes completely haywire, forcing the South African president to watch fake propaganda, then demands answers. Even Ben Shapiro is now criticizing Trump's foreign policy. We dissect this Oval Office ambush and the Qatari jet bribe. Which Trump scandal is worse? Drop your vote below. It's genuinely difficult to know where to even begin with this, because Donald Trump reportedly went completely haywire during an Oval Office meeting with the South African president. He allegedly forced his counterpart to watch a fabricated propaganda video, a blatant lie, entirely untrue, and then demanded the South African leader account for this falsehood. Compounding this, the right wing is apparently starting to voice serious dissatisfaction with Trump's foreign policy decisions. Even Ben Shapiro is now criticizing the Trump administration's perceived inadequacies in this arena, which is frankly astonishing. Let's focus on what some are calling an ambush of the South African president, likening it to the full Zelensky treatment. The President of the United States seemingly blindsided him with so-called reporters, more accurately propagandists, lobbing leading questions designed to embarrass him. But first, consider the video Trump actually played. To provide some context, this video falsely alleges a genocide is being perpetrated against white people, a situation Trump bizarrely termed the opposite of apartheid. Here's a glimpse of that deeply misleading footage.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. But, okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa.
We need to find out.
Utterly bizarre, truly bizarre, and deeply embarrassing. The President of the United States is showcasing straight-up propaganda. There's a clip available that thoroughly debunks what was just presented, but before getting to that fact-check, it's worth seeing what Marco Rubio had to say. Ah, there he is. Where's little Marco? Alright, let's see his take. Consider Marco Rubio's commentary on this very same falsehood. Someone aptly noted that since there's no genocide against white people in South Africa, Rubio's argument with Tim Kaine effectively boils down to this. America supposedly has a moral obligation to save white South Africans because they can no longer freely practice white supremacy. It's a stunning assertion. Let's watch how this played out.
I'm going to ask you, what, so a well-justified fear of persecution?
Yeah, they thought that their farms were being burned down and they would be killed. I think that's a pretty good justification for wanting to come. They're afraid for their lives.
And should it be applied in an even-handed way? That's an easy
No, our foreign policy doesn't require even-handedness. It requires prioritizing the interests of the United States.
The phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So
you're
can
allowed.
you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
I'm just asking you to say that that would be unacceptable.
Well, no,
that
I would say that the United States,
a very easy thing
the United
to say.
States has a right.
So, he's actually championing this blatant falsehood. And now to counter that, here's a segment from CNN thoroughly debunking the very lie he's promoting. Let's see the facts.
Because Larry, you can give us some context on one of the videos that President Trump played in the Oval Office. He was claiming that there was 1,000 roadside graves. Apparently this is a video that had been of a political statement made by a specific political party in South Africa, but not of actual grave sites, just a political demonstration to highlight violence against farmers.
Honestly, it's debatable whether Donald Trump even grasped the falsity of that propaganda. His cognitive state seems increasingly muddled, so it's entirely plausible he genuinely believed it. This is the man who apparently bought into a tale about people eating cats and dogs. He's essentially your archetypal boomer grandpa on Facebook, gullibly accepting every AI-generated image as gospel, and this person is currently president. He also faced questions regarding Air Force One and took a significant swipe at a reporter who raised the Qatar connection. But before we get to that exchange, there was this remarkable moment where the South African president informed Trump, "I'm sorry, we don't have an aircraft to offer you. To which Trump reportedly retorted, "Well, if you did, I'd take it. The audacity is just something else."
We need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One. It's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back.
All right, returning to the point. This is unequivocally a transactional presidency. It's as plain as day. That entire exchange was a reaction to a reporter pressing about the $400 million jet. In response, Donald Trump completely lost his composure and erupted at the journalist, further underscoring his unhinged nature. The focus remains solely on what he can gain, regardless of ethics or optics.
What are you talking about? You know, you to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatar jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition.
That's not true. That's a lie.
To the jet. Go back. You ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network. And you.
Did you observe Elon Musk's positioning there? Conspicuously removed from the central action, no longer seated. He appears to be so thoroughly marginalized that it's a safe bet his influence won't endure much longer. He did, after all, reportedly quit politics, though the sincerity of that claim remains to be seen. This exchange is yet another jaw-dropping instance of Donald Trump vehemently defending this $400 million gift when questioned by a reporter, predictably resorting to attacking the press. While such behavior has become depressingly familiar, it remains utterly outrageous for a president to act this way in the Oval Office. That journalist was simply performing his duty. The fundamental role of a free press is to hold power accountable, and power absolutely must be challenged. Furthermore, from what's understood, this Qatari gift will ultimately cost taxpayers a minimum of $400 million, potentially even $1 billion, to retrofit it into a functional Air Force One, complete with all necessary security features and advanced technology. So, this supposed $400 million gift is anything but free. It actually comes with a hefty price tag for the public. This is a crucial point to conclude on, as its implications are highly significant. Ken Martin, the Democratic Party chair, articulated it perfectly. It's official. Trump is accepting Qatar's luxury jet bribe, while simultaneously attempting to strip Americans of health care and deny food to hungry children. Every American should be incensed. This is absolutely the precise framing required for this situation. This is exactly how this egregious act of corruption, juxtaposed with cruel domestic policies, needs to be presented to the public. The contrast is stark and damning. It's clear that Donald Trump is actively creating turmoil for the most vulnerable, lowest-income Americans. House GOP lawmakers are pushing for almost $1 trillion in drastic cuts to essential programs like Medicaid and food stamps. Yes, they are targeting Medicaid and food stamps, lifelines for countless families. This demonstrates a shocking disregard for those already struggling. Here's a brief look at the details of these proposed cuts. House Republicans are aggressively pursuing nearly $1 trillion in cuts to 2 cornerstone safety net programs, Medicaid and food stamps. This drastic measure is part of a broader legislative package designed to implement President Donald Trump's agenda. Should this legislation pass, millions of Americans could be stripped of these vital benefits, facing dire consequences. Millions will suffer from these cuts, and the real motivation behind this austerity? to finance massive tax breaks for billionaires. That is the undeniable, stark reality of why these devastating reductions are being pushed through. Over 71 million individuals rely on Medicaid, and approximately 42 million Americans receive food assistance. Ideally, 71 million people wouldn't be living in poverty and requiring Medicaid, but thank goodness the program exists. One wishes for a nation that genuinely uplifts those in poverty, but at least this safety net is in place. However, it appears we're veering towards criminalizing poverty itself. These proposals would tear Medicaid coverage from over 10 million individuals within a decade. All it seems, so figures like Elon Musk can pocket another $20 billion. For the first time in Medicaid's 6-decade history, certain recipients aged 19 to 64 would face a mandate to work at least 80 hours monthly to keep their benefits. Alternatives include community service, schooling, or work programs. Why are we imposing work requirements for healthcare? If someone needs health insurance, they should simply receive it. This just erects more bureaucratic hurdles, causing people to fall through the cracks due to reporting errors or inability to meet complex demands, ultimately losing their coverage. Tragically, people will likely die as a result of this, and let's not forget the impact on children. Over 71 million individuals rely on Medicaid, and approximately 42 million Americans receive food assistance. Ideally, 71 million people wouldn't be living in poverty and requiring Medicaid, but thank goodness the program exists. One wishes for a nation that genuinely uplifts those in poverty, but at least this safety net is in place. However, it appears we're veering towards criminalizing poverty itself. These proposals would tear Medicaid coverage from over 10 million individuals within a decade. All it seems, so figures like Elon Musk can pocket another $20 billion. For the first time in Medicaid's 6-decade history, certain recipients aged 19 to 64 would face a mandate to work at least 80 hours monthly to keep their benefits. Alternatives include community service, schooling, or work programs. Why are we imposing work requirements for healthcare? If someone needs health insurance, they should simply receive it. This just erects more bureaucratic hurdles, causing people to fall through the cracks due to reporting errors or inability to meet complex demands, ultimately losing their coverage. Tragically, people will likely die as a result of this, and let's not forget the impact on children. Children are among the primary beneficiaries of SNAP, the nation's food assistance program. It is utterly revolting and despicable that Donald Trump is targeting these funds, effectively taking food from kids. Now, let's shift to an unlikely critic, Ben Shapiro. He's a right-wing figure, a MAGA-aligned influencer who fancies himself a profound thinker, perhaps a distorted version of Ezra Klein. Remarkably, he's now attacking the Trump administration over its foreign policy. More of this is desperately needed. Regardless of political leaning, right, left, or center, anyone challenging Trump is, for now, an ally. We must forge the broadest possible coalition. While Shapiro is unlikely to vote Democrat, his willingness to speak truth to power, even in small doses, can contribute to a significant shift.
It should be made clear at this point that Vladimir Putin does not actually want anything like a negotiated peace that sets the lines where they are. He does not want that. Vladimir Putin believes the United States will eventually walk away. And hell, if you were Vladimir Putin, you'd probably believe that too. The United States has, over the course of the last 20 years, walked away from the Kurds, the Afghans, the people of Hong Kong, and now maybe the people of Ukraine. So why wouldn't they? I mean, really, like that is the game that Vladimir Putin is playing. He's playing the long game here. The United States is going to have to play a similarly long game if we actually wish for Vladimir Putin not to take over the entirety of Ukraine.
Finding common ground with Ben Shapiro? What strange times we live in. Well, that's all for now. Thanks so much for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye-bye.